Julia, would you consider yourself a master debater?
I consider myself more of a team player.
This is episode 11 of Disengaging,
our show recapping our spiciest takes on season 3 of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I'm Julia Ritchie in Nashville, Tennessee.
And I'm Nicole Nixon in Sacramento, California.
Can I have a glass of water, please? I'm dying. Sorry, I didn't mean to
You would like to clarify?
Yeah, get yourself a nice big glass of water because we have a lot of drama and
depressing things to discuss.
Depressing, like, therapy session topics to go through with these 4 Salt Lake City ladies.
I know. It was such a slog for there only being 4 of them on there. So the way we were going to, break it up is, we'll talk about the first reunion show, and then we'll talk about the second reunion show, and then we'll never come back and do it again. This is it. Guys, this is our last episode of the season. Thank you so much for being a part of our healing journey. It's been a lot of fun. But we don't need to get to goodbyes yet. Because, so it took us a while to watch the 2 episodes. Because we were not looking forward to it because it was kind of a depressing season, right?
Yeah, I mean, we were talking before this, and I was I put off watching these episodes until literally the last minute, 2 hours ago. I powered through the 2 hours, and here we are.
I kind of felt like I gave you a homework assignment this week.
Well, I felt like it.
I did. I was like, Nicole, it's Friday. I was like, I still need to watch the reunion shows. I was going to do that tomorrow. What looks good for you? I was very much bossing you around because I was like, we have to do the last episode even if it kills us.
Oh, I'm going to go do something fun on Saturday and I'll watch the 2 episodes on Sunday. And then I was checking in with you. Okay, I'm starting them.
Yeah, not great for Bravo if the people doing a podcast on your show don't even want to watch your reunion show.
Yeah.
I think sort of to even the kickoff of the reunion show, they do this funny entrance, or allegedly funny.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't find it that funny, with a Sprinter van, and it just looked so weird, rolling this car. Anytime a car is inside a building, it looks weird. And then they get out without falling, but barely. And it just it was kind of so clumsy that it was a great metaphor for this season, is just women spilling out all their feelings and emotions out of a Sprinter van.
Like a clown car.
Like a clown car, yeah.
Huh. That's interesting. I kind of liked it. I'm definitely they can get me with the TV stage magic. I eat that shit up. So I was a Sprinter van, how funny. They played all the drama in the Sprinter vans over the years, and I was like,
you're the one, when you see America's Got Talent clips in your social feed, you stop to watch it, even if it's something really stupid, like a guy swallowing billiard balls or something.
Wow, you know me really well. I'm easily entertained, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that, okay?
I know, that's not, I sounded meaner than I actually meant it to. I was like, no, it's you seem like this is exactly who they did this Sprinter van thing for.
I guess so. Okay, well, Jen was not there, but pretty early on in the reunion, they get her on the phone, and I thought that was hilarious, to settle I don't even remember what the debate was about.
That's the thing. It's you just said that, and I was like, wait, what was she weighing in on? And it was it was one of the rumors that had been spread throughout the season. Oh, it was the pill. It was the pill popping.
Oh, yeah, the pill popper thing.
Yeah. So Meredith calls Jen, whose legal team had advised her against going on the reunion show.
She was happy to settle at least one debate via phone, though.
Yeah, which is did you say anything about me taking ketamine and other substances?
Special K. Everyone knows what that is.
What Special K is. That was a wild exchange.
It was a wild exchange.
It made me realize that all of these women are probably on SSRIs, which is great.
Mm-hmm,
It's more visibility for the depressed community, myself included. Nicole, I feel seen. I don't take Special K, but I feel seen. Anyways, Jen says she did not spread those rumors. But I don't know. Meredith just seemed really bitter the whole reunion.
Yeah. She was very defensive about a lot of things. Almost like any question she was asked, she was like,
I will give credit to Andy because she minimized a lot of her gossiping as like, well, I was, I was just carrying on a conversation.
Yeah. I was just repeating the things that I had heard.
I was just like, that's gossip.
And I love, like, the definition. Totally. And she acts like she's above that, but she's not. And then I also love that they had receipts for Meredith whenever she tried to be like, oh, I did not say that. Then they would play a clip of her saying exactly that.
And same thing with like with Andy being like, did you actually reach out to Lisa on her birthday? Mm-hmm. And then she looked like a little kid who got in trouble. Like,
she did. She got caught.
Yeah. So there was like some good accountability moments, I would say. But they were still, I don't know, unpleasant.
Yeah.
It wasn't like satisfying accountability. It was like, these women are all miserable.
That's why I said it. And it was, maybe it's a bitchy thing to say, but I mean, that's what I was told.
It is a bitchy thing to say, Lisa.
Yeah.
It's
well,
not
we all
maybe.
say a lot of bitchy things. I'm not the only one.
No,
so
you're not.
We can move on now.
I feel like Lisa Barlow showed up to the reunion ready to have fun, and no one else wanted to play. Like
there was no fun to.
Lisa was like trying to she's like one. There was like a moment, like a fourth wall breaking moment, where the cameras break for commercial, and Lisa was like just crying, and she turns to Whitney. She's like, why am I the only one crying? Am I a big baby? And Whitney's just like, I've already cried enough. Like, this
wow,
is just,
I missed that.
Yeah, it was like for them, it's just a job. They have to show up to the reunion. Like, Lisa is living in the moment. She said she's gonna release a holiday album EP.
I know.
Like, I love that. I'm like, I feel like she's the only one that understands like the campiness of being a Real Housewife, whereas like the rest of them are like so dour and like down.
Yeah, I know.
But like Lisa was like she's ready to spar. She was ready to like.
Lisa is like able to compartmentalize better than most of these other women, I feel like.
Yeah, I think she's a real businesswoman too.
Yeah.
So she's like, this franchise is a business, and I'm gonna leverage it to like sell Frosties and like holiday albums. I'll be the first in line. Honestly, I'm ready for it.
I think people appreciate that about Lisa this season, especially if she was like a highlight when everybody else was dealing with these like really heavy and like less fun topics. Lisa was just,
she understood like stupid drama. Like, that's what people want in the Real Housewives, is they want like drama with like low stakes, which is like
not what this
did
season
someone
has been.
like did someone cancel did she cancel
the caterer?
It was so stupid, but you could follow it so easily, right? It was like, did she or did she not do that to like undercut Angie H?
Yep.
So simple, so like I don't know, fun is the word, but it's like frivolous, like frivolity is a big theme of these franchises. And everyone else was like, I'm going to bring storylines that are really dramatic. And it's like,
and hard to follow and like so layered.
Yeah. And like, obviously, like, Whitney can't talk about like every part of like her sexual abuse, like whatever happened to her, and it's like, so I just feel like they need Lisa to coach them on how to like fight over dumb things again. Because everything they fought over this season was super serious, like life and death crap.
I know. Yeah.
I'm like, boo. Too real, please. This is too much.
Too real. Seriously.
I guess they did say Real Housewives. So.
I know. Well, hopefully the next season is a little lighter and more frivolous.
Yes.
And less like homework to watch every week.
And when you're going up against someone who's like a master debater, it's hard.
Who's a master debater?
Heather. Me? Yeah.
Oh, congratulations.
Well, early on in the episode, they get to, they talk about Jen's guilty plea, which came after the season ended, but before her sentencing. And so they're all kind of like asked about that early on in the reunion. Whitney and Meredith are both like very canned, like, wow, I was really surprised because she was so like adamant that she was, innocent, and I thought she would fight it the whole way. And then Lisa does her like play the fence thing that she always does, because it like came after another answer where she said, I have mixed emotions. I think she was like, I have mixed emotions about Jen not being here today. I have mixed emotions about Jen pleading guilty to telemarketing. It was like, I felt like she had rehearsed it through her like 6 lawyers that she has on retainer. Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like she was like, it just seemed really rehearsed. Yeah. And then Heather, oh, what a mess. We'll get to her a little later. But she was, again, didn't really answer the question that Andy posed to her about, like, you know, don't you feel lied to?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, kind of the reactions you'd expect. But still not a lot of accountability for, like, how they behave during the season.
Yeah.
With her, you know?
Not satisfying, really, because it was pretty rehearsed. So, yes. I don't know. It just didn't feel that genuine a lot of times.
Yeah. They did mention Dana's blow up. So they bring in the three friends midway through the episode. And I really have to point out that this was actually probably the funniest part to me is, like, why did you get so mad at Jen? And it's because Jen made racist and classist comments to her, which is, like, that's horrible. But, like, the classist comment was, like, you live in Tooele. And I was like, oh, my God, Tooele gets national name drop.
I love it so much. I love it so much.
Okay, we should tell, for our listeners who have never been to Tooele, how would you describe Tooele?
Oh, how would I describe Tooele?
Yeah, because I've been there.
Mm-hmm. Have you been there or have you driven past it?
Well, I guess
There's no reason to go there unless you live there.
Yeah, it's a speck of a town. You know, like it's like a couple stoplight town, and it's sort of the entryway to when you want to go to what's the mountain that's there that like
that's Antelope Island.
Yes, and also the mountain range. Like if you're going up toward the Ochre Mountains, and
the Ochre Mountains are on the west side of Salt Lake City.
Yeah, we're Tooele, right?
And Tooele's on the other side of the Ochre Mountains. So if you're driving,
I remember one time I went hiking and I had to go through Tooele. That's all I remember.
I don't do a lot of hikes out there, or I didn't. Like most of the good hiking is in the Wasatch Mountains, which are like on the east side of Salt Lake City and like between Salt Lake and Park City.
I think I would describe it as very rural.
Yes,
though.
Does
that surprise you that Dana lives in such a rural community?
Yes, I was surprised that she lived in Tooele, but I wonder if, I mean, some people live out there because they can just get a lot more land out there. We don't know a lot about Dana. Like people that live out there, I also have like Salt Lake City or Utah in general has a crazy housing crisis and it's so expensive. So if you are in your 20s, 30s, and you want to buy your first home, like Tooele is one of the places where you can afford it. Yeah, so it's like people are getting pushed further away from the Salt Lake metro area. But anyways, I don't know. We don't know a lot about Dana or her family. What her husband does. Like
the revealing part. Like obviously, it's funny because it's a small town, but not because there's like anything wrong with living there. So I want to make that super clear. Like Jen's definitely being a bitch. But yeah, I think that reveals like a lot because at her sentencing, Jen said to the judge that she'd found like a lot of purpose through her like Black Lives Matter and racial justice sort of things. And then I believe Dana that Jen made fun of her husband's name by like just guessing some other Hispanic names and then also saying the thing about Tooele, which, you know, it's like you can joke about like small bumpkin towns, but it's also like that was clearly aimed at like denigrating her like socioeconomic status.
For sure.
So anyways, hearing that, I was like, wow, I think I'm like definitely over Jen. Like I defended her all season practically, but now like hearing someone say like that to someone, even like it's like what
the stuff about her husband's name was so like
but real.
Yeah,
you could
see it.
You could totally see Jen doing
I don't
it.
question that at all. I don't like.
Yeah. Which it's just Jen being the ultimate like villain. This whole show has been like she became the thing that she was like felt tortured by her whole life, which was not being like good enough, and then she like turned into the thing that she hated. You know?
Damn. Yeah. Wow. We were talking about a Jen redemption arc earlier in the season, and now it's like hard left to Jen making herself into the villain she always dreaded being, like Darth Vader.
Yeah, and I'll say maybe this is the like tie because I was trying to think of like a through line for these two shows for us to discuss. Is like we all knew Jen was like crazy and unreliable and, you know, now criminal. But she really dragged Heather down with her. I think as
so
Jen's
shocked.
reputation has gone to the shitter, because everyone was like, what's going on with Heather? What's going on with Heather? And I was like, of course it would go down because she's tied herself. Yeah. So it's like, as Jen is going down, she's dragging Heather down with her. I don't want to totally 100%. Like say that to like scapegoat Heather's own culpability.
Not that Heather hopefully is going to be named in some, fraud investication. But yeah, Heather.
They did seem shocked by the sealed indictment, though. So
oh my God, another receipt that Meredith pulled out of nowhere.
Didn't Whitney deserve at least the same patience and grace you gave Jen for far worse? That's an interesting point. Do you think she holds you to a different standard that she holds Jen?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
I hold her to an absolutely different standard.
You hold her to a higher standard.
Much higher.
But your actions don't convey that.
Can we talk about Jen or Heather? And I don't know. She's going through some shit this season. And she just needs to figure some stuff out. But I was really shocked. We finally got like her and Whitney talking it through. And Whitney was feeling like Jen hasn't been cutting her enough slack. Or Jen has... Jesus, why am I saying Jen?
Because they're tethered. They're like,
God, they are. They're the same person now.
It's like, I didn't realize that until watching this episode. Like,
yeah.
Like, every opportunity, Andy and even the other women gave Heather to distance herself from Jen.
She wouldn't.
She would not do it. And that, to me, was like, that's the storyline of this whole season. It's not the black eye. It's not the whatever. It's not even, like, Jen's, like, trial. It's really Jen and Heather having the most toxic codependent relationship.
Yeah.
And I was like trying to think about that in my own life, and it's like, I definitely sometimes, like I think about like at work, where you're like you have natural allies at work, and so when something's upsetting your coworker, you immediately are like, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna back them up. And that's sort of how they operated the whole season.
They always had each other's. Well, but that's the thing, though, is like Heather always had Jen's back, but Jen was literally talking shit on Heather in the hot tub with all the other women. And that just made me so sad that Heather, and she knows all this, and she was asked all about this at the reunion. Why are you still going to be friends with Jen? You saw the tapes of her talking shit on you in the hot tub. And Heather was just like, at one point, Heather really said, maybe Jen's a bad person, but ... And I don't think she finished the sentence. It just that crushed me. That was to also watch her.
For someone that Whitney praises as a master debater. Yeah. Like I was like, she actually isn't, because all of her logical, it's like circular logic. It doesn't make sense. Like she just reinforces her own circular logic about why it's okay for Jen to talk about her behind her back, but then she won't forgive Whitney for like one little conflict they had.
And admitting that she holds Whitney to a higher standard. So
that was crazy. Okay, so this was in Reunion 2, right?
This was the second episode, I think.
Okay, so in Reunion 2, the best exchange, or one of the best exchanges, was when it was a question, I think, from a audience person that said, do you hold Whitney? Why are you holding Whitney to this standard that you don't hold Jen to? And then Whitney's like, yeah, great question. Like, why? What? And then Heather says, yes, I do hold you to a higher standard than Jen, which is why I've been less forgiving of your...
I don't understand that. She holds Whitney to a higher standard, but she's like not willing to move past this one thing.
Yeah, it's like you can do
at a time when Whitney's processing like crazy trauma from her past.
I love that Heather was shown minimizing.
Yeah,
that was really, I forgot about that during this season, and like seeing it again, I was like, that was really cruel. Which is what everyone's been saying about Heather all season, is like she's been acting very differently. So I sent you a tweet earlier this week about Heather's sister, who was featured on an earlier season, and it was when they would go to Aspen or Vale.
They went to Vale, yeah.
Yeah, and so
she like met up with her sister, and her sister or sister-in-law. Maybe her actual sister.
No, it's her actual sister.
Oh, because this sister left the church when they were young, and family like low contact or no contact, and so she reconnected with her sister who had left the church, and they kind of bonded over that. But then, do you want me to read this comment?
Yeah, please.
Then her sister commented on a post that Whitney had made about the reunion, and she said, "Whitney Wildrose, stop waiting for Heather. Until she has a use for you, she has no use for you. Believe me, I know. I waited 20 plus years for her, only to be used for a storyline in Vale. She hasn't spoken to me since the day we filmed, and I consider it to be the last conversation we will ever have. It was nice to meet you in Vale. Sorry that you finally saw the real Heather."
I gasped.
I did too.
I was like, oh, that's so, like...
Yeah.
I mean, even just hearing you read it, I was like, that's so visceral. That's the word. Like, hearing, like, her sister writing that publicly on another cast member's page just completely, like, yanks the veil down from Heather's like persona. It's not pretty. It's not pretty. No. Yeah. And I believe her, you know, that she probably
I went to look for it. I couldn't. I wonder if she had deleted it or Whitney had deleted it, but
so hopefully we're not spreading misinformation.
I hope not.
2 journalists just reading comments they saw on Twitter secondhand from Instagram. Okay, I got us off black eye though, because we gotta wrap up with the black eye. I know it's exactly like it was all season. Oh, okay. Here's my favorite fun fact about the black eye. Andy asked Heather, "How long was it bruised?" And she said, "About 10 days." And then I think I wrote down in our notes like her black eye lasted 10 days, but as a storyline it lasted like 2 years,
6 months.
Like the trip to San Diego itself.
Seriously.
But I was like, you know, like, not to minimize, it was a serious injury, but it was also like, it cleared up in like a week and a half. Whereas like,
I know.
we've been wondering for months what happened.
And there's not even a like good explanation for how she got it. Like now she's saying that she doesn't even know, that she blacked out. She was really drunk. She woke up and had scratches and a black eye. And she has a lot of shame about that because she grew up, you know, in a conservative culture in the LDS church where drinking is like a no-no, frowned upon. And I found that relatable as somebody who grew up in the LDS church, that she, you know, this has happened on a TV show for everybody to see, and like her family will find out and connect it to the drinking. And she feels shame about that. I don't know. I believed that. I didn't want to. I felt like I feel like it can be both though. Like it's an easy out, but I definitely like believed the feelings that she felt about it, but it also is like...
But she also said some conflicting things before that.
Oh, totally. So it was like, and they had it all on camera.
And she said, I didn't want them to hijack my narrative, like storyline. Again, like...
Yeah.
And he's like, what do you mean? And basically like allowing the housewives to like insert what they think happened. But they did that anyways.
Yeah. They totally all did that anyways, while like acknowledging that they didn't know because Heather didn't know.
Yeah, so she kind of, like you say, like I believe it. I believe she was ashamed, but then the way she leaned into it and then apparently jeopardized some of the production staff by implicating that there was more to it. That was like a weird subtext that happened.
That was a weird subtext too, that like she didn't have a good explanation. Well, maybe they need to interview all the production staff and ask them and have that investigation. I know that got dark.
Yeah, and so she said, and then she's like, I do want an investigation. I don't want an investigation. And then Whitney's like, which one is it?
Well, when she realized what an investigation actually means and that somebody, you know.
So you think she could still be hiding?
I feel like I believe her like shame spiral excuse. I also feel like she knew, like she woke up and had an inkling, but she chose to bury it. And maybe Jen did hit her and she just doesn't want to believe that, so she chose to bury it. And now like she has forgotten because she's like buried it so deep. And it's like
this is so dark. I think there is validity to your point that, and we kind of saw what was happening.
And maybe Jen didn't hit her, but
it was
like
the elbow
something
thing.
Like
it was
got
the
out of
roughhouse.
hand.
It was like roughhousing, elbow.
Right. And she could, because she could feel even more shame about something like that.
Yeah. I think the lesson here is don't drink and like know your limit. Right?
Know your limit and know when to go crazy and when to like put a little leash on it because there's cameras, you know?
Yeah, I mean that part I was like, yeah, I could see why she's like ashamed. I think they kind of encourage them to get crazy on the.
Oh, totally, they do.
Yeah, that was it. That was just, man. Now I'm like, man, that was such a dark plot line. And like, as someone on Twitter said, like when they first started like teasing it, because again, this is like, I mean, the Real Housewives is implicated in this because they were the ones. They didn't have to like pull it out. They did. You know, they chose to pull it out and highlight it and drag it out multiple episodes. It's someone.
And tease it.
Someone said on Twitter, it's like
over and over.
It's really like deplorable, basically, that they would use an assault, basically, like even the suggestion of abuse and assault as a narrative device. And I totally agree. And it's like, again, kind of reiterating, this was such an unfun season.
I know. Just a lot of really ethical, like, yucky things.
Yes. I don't want to think about ethics when I watch Real Housewives.
No, I don't either.
We didn't know we were going to, like, get a PhD in, like, I don't know.
Morality.
Social, emotional. Let's do fashion moments.
Let's do fashion moments.
Okay. I thought Meredith was the winner. She had the velvet orange.
I agree. She looked snatched. Her her figure looked great.
Yes, she definitely.
Her makeup looked good too.
Yeah, sometimes they do like too much tanning stuff.
Yeah,
and I thought hers was great. I love turtlenecks on dresses. Mm-hmm. You don't agree. You just went.
I think Meredith looked great. I don't know if I could wear. If it was velvet, I love velvet dresses. I would wear a velvet.
Do you own a turtleneck?
I don't think I own a turtleneck.
Okay, I think I had, like, my mom raised me in turtlenecks, and so now it's like I've returned to them and I love them, and I'm like, maybe this is like a nostalgia thing for me. But I love the way turtlenecks look. And they used to be like, I
think they do look very chic, and I think they are having a moment.
Yeah. But when I was a kid, they were not chic. They were like the epitome of being nerdy and like not cool.
Steve Jobs made them cool again.
Yeah. And then the Theranos lady who copied Steve Jobs.
Okay. Dana, we talked about loving Dana's look when the looks first came out. On screen, I also loved it very much.
The cape was very dramatic, and obviously they didn't give her a lot of time on screen, but she had a statement dress that made a real impression for. Yeah, I think it's like she understood the assignment kind of thing, which is like, you're only going to get 3 minutes on this reunion show. Make it count. And
Bring
she's
it.
Like, yeah, she did. She really brought it.
She did.
And I thought Angie K's was pretty good as well. It had, like, again,
she looked good.
Yeah. Like,
they all looked, I mean, I still hated Whitney's.
Yeah. The zippers.
Altogether, they looked, the zippers were not flattering.
No. I didn't think Heather's was that, I mean, it was fine, but it was, I didn't like the wrap. It looked like
looked kind of cheap.
Like
the fabric
wrapping paper. You know when you you see like at like Thanksgiving, Christmas time, like wrapped pumpkins, like kind of had like a foiled look to it.
Like a cellophane-y.
Yes.
Yeah.
That cellophane is the word. Very. Yeah. So Meredith.
They all looked. I feel like they all looked very autumnal together. It looked like fall colors. And I was like, this is like a few months too late on the fall vibes. But
I still like the season 1 reunion where they had the ice fishing set. That was
so funny.
Yeah. This one was like weird church.
I know, the church thing was so...
Another weird thing.
It added to like the heavy, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Were they all like needing to confess in this like broken down church?
I know. Well, we kind of discussed this on the last episode, but regardless of whether we do another season of this podcast, will you watch next season?
I will give next season a good college try.
All right.
And if I'm feeling 3-4 episodes in how I've been feeling about this season, I might have to take a break. How about you?
I think I'm with you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, I think I will not want to do another podcast probably. Not because this hasn't been amazing. It's been really amazing. But yeah, I just thought like there were just times when I was like, man, I might want to skip a week. You know? We had those discussions where we literally skipped weeks because we were like, this. But I'm hopeful that maybe the producers, and it seems like Andy
I think they know. I think they've like there's been so much feedback.
They're very in touch with their that's what I kind of love about the show. We're talking about like Bachelor versus Real Housewives and like different fandoms. What I really like about the Real Housewives fandom is they're super like real-time responsive to their fans.
Well, they like use they use fan questions on the Watch What Happens Live and the reunions. So
you and I, we have to talk about community engagement a lot now as part of our jobs in journalism and how we can like reach new audiences. And it's like Bravo gets it. Like public radio needs to take a page from Bravo and like real time incorporate feedback because that shit is fire. And like every week we're swapping like tweets and Instagram posts of like different theories. It's crazy.
I know. So nerdy. Well, does that do it for this season of Disengaging?
I think so. We don't know when we might enter the Bravoverse again, Nicole, but rest assured we will let our fans know when we do.
We are thinking about, I'm going to put this out there, a special book club episode of Heather's book, Bad Mormon, but we're not going to commit to that.
Not committing to it, but we're aspirationally putting it on our vision board. This episode of Disengaging was produced by me, Julia Ritchie.
And me, Nicole Nixon.
Don't forget to rate us on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast. I'll still have my Substack going, and you can catch up on all of our episodes this season on there. So thanks for coming along for the joyride.
And we'll catch you on the flippity flip.
Fudge College.